In this video, I'm going to explain how to do the paragraph exercise. But before you can do it, you first need to read chapter 1 showing up in our grit textbook. And you also need to read chapter 8 paragraph development in our Oz textbook. Okay. Now, to find out exactly what the paragraph exercise is, you're going to need to go into our syllabus and go to pages 4 and 12. So when you go to page 4, very similar to the reading questions, under number 7, you're going to find a description of what the paragraph exercise is and what you need to do. And the instructions in this case also go over onto page 5 right here. So you need to make note of that and sometimes look ahead in the syllabus to make sure you're not leaving something out. Now, before I explain these directions, though, or instructions, I really want to go to page 12 where more information is given on the paragraph exercise. All right, so on page 12, right here, where it talks about the paragraph exercises, it explains the overall concept of what these exercises are and what you're to get out of them. So every week we will have a paragraph exercise that's going to be based off of chapter 8 from our Oz textbook. This is where you're going to be applying what you've learned in this chapter throughout the whole week. And you're going to be applying it to a specific chapter in our grit textbook. Okay. Now, paragraph writing is really the building block of college level essays. And writing essays is something that you're going to be expected to do in almost every single college class from here on out. Especially in English 120, which this course is designed to prepare you for, you're going to have multiple essays due in that class. Now, what makes a good essay in college writing is always having a thesis statement. And we'll cover what a thesis statement is more in future weeks. But a thesis statement basically guides the whole essay. So every paragraph that's in an essay needs to relate back to this thesis statement. Okay. Now, when you're writing a good paragraph, that paragraph is always going to be supporting one of the arguments that this statement makes. Okay. Now, each week, a new element of paragraph writing will be covered, okay, from our Sutton and Fisher reading, or I'll kind of add it in there for you. So it's real important to look at the B question that's given or directions given from what I showed you earlier, because that will change from week to week, okay? Now, a good paragraph for this paragraph exercise is going to be between 150 and 300 words, not including any direct quotes that you use from the textbook. And you will often be asked to directly refer back to the textbook. So just a quick reminder too, go back to Sutton and Fisher, our Oz textbook, and on page 89, they lay out what are the 4 good principles of paragraph writing. So it's number 1, your paragraph should begin with a good topic sentence. Number 2, there's support in that paragraph that supports that topic sentence, and it follows the state. You state what the information is, you give the source for the information, you give the sample of it, you cite it, and then you synthesize it. Okay, and each paragraph should have between 2 to 3 supporting points. You should also have some transition words between these different supporting points. And that's something we will also cover later on in this course. And then 4th, there's a concluding sentence that summarizes the paragraph's main point. Okay. And then, of course, you need to use good grammar and punctuation like we're learning in the course, and the proper format. So what I want to do is go ahead and go back up to page 4 and now break down the instructions that are specific to the paragraph exercise for this week. So on page 4, we find the specific directions for this paragraph exercise under point number 7. So the first thing you need to look at is for number or letter A, it says complete the complete thesis statement. Now, for this first week, I've given you a complete thesis statement. So you need to imagine that this sentence right here would be the thesis of your essay. So imagine that I told you, okay, you're going to write a whole essay on this thesis statement. You're going to have your introduction paragraph, your 3 body paragraphs, and your conclusion. And one of your body paragraphs is going to relate back to what this sentence says, which is the characteristics needed to have grit are perseverance, passion, and discipline. Now, one of those 3 body paragraphs in your paper needs to deal with either perseverance, passion, or discipline. So you're only going to choose one of these. I do not want a paragraph that covers all 3. I only want a paragraph that either covers perseverance, or it covers passion, or it covers discipline. So only choose one of them. Now, when you're writing this paragraph, you're going to kind of describe this characteristic. All right, how does this characteristic relate back to grit? Okay, so you're going to give 3 supporting pieces of evidence to support why you say this characteristic is needed to have grit. And what I want you to do is label your supporting points in the different parts of your paragraph. So if we go back to our grit textbook in chapter 8, and specifically go on page 89, there's a sample paragraph right at the bottom that shows you what I want you to do. And I've put it up here on the screen so it's a little easier to see. But this is page 89, and this is the sample paragraph. So you can see what I've highlighted in blue is the text of the paragraph. This would be your own words that you've typed on the keyboard. And then in the yellow, this is your label. This is you saying, okay, this sentence right here is my topic sentence. And this sentence, these few sentences right here, this is my support number 1. So if you need an additional example of what I'm talking about, you can go back to the main screen of our homepage and go ahead and go down to where it says course resources, paragraph exercise. And if you click on this, it'll give you a document that you can download by clicking on this link right here, download paragraph exercise. And this document shows you the formatting of the submission and what it should look like. So you can see here I would have the text of my submission, and then in brackets where it says this is my topic sentence. Then I give more of my support and I label it support 1. Then I give my second piece of support and say support 2, support 3, and from there. Now, the one last thing that I want to explain is for your point number C down here, where it says supporting points, this is just saying that you have to have 3 supporting points, and one of them must reference chapter 1 showing up in our grit textbook. Okay, so when I say reference, that could be referring to a story or a scenario or an idea that Duckworth gives. If you're feeling very adventurous, you can even provide a quote from the chapter as part of your support. So you have 3 supporting points altogether, and one of those must directly reference the Duckworth text. Now, if you have any questions on this paragraph exercise, or you're feeling confused or uncertain in any way, please don't hesitate to send me a text or an email, and I'm happy to answer your questions.